Welcome back to J.K. McLeod.
Today I'm revisiting the Pioneer 550. A few improvements. And I picked up a few parts. Let's see if I can try and repair this primer. Yeah, since it doesn't have a choke. First improvement, I took the original bar off, put a full bar on it. Gotta polish that up a little bit more. It's got some deep scratches where someone went over it with sandpaper. Let's see if I can polish those out a little bit more. I think the bar looks pretty good. A bit more functional. And let's see if I can get this primer out. And this is another learn as you go process. Top cover. And there should be two screws to come off. Use that as a tray. Two, and the handle just simply lifts off. Pull the hose for the primer out. Put that aside. And here we are. Pretty simple. Now, hopefully, there should be, 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should come out. Or maybe I really don't have to. Maybe I can just remove this lower piece, but we shall see. See if I can just remove that lower piece. See what size that is. Looks like someone tried before. Yeah, 5/8. Let's see what we get. Isn't that pretty tight? Let me see if I can condense it. Maybe that'll do. There must have some spinning. Yeah, there was some spinning. Hopefully this is spring loaded. Oh yeah, it's filled with crud and malarkey. I think that may be the earthly remains of what was left. Alrighty. This, I don't know if it'll come out. I may have to do it. I don't know. I'll have to look at the IPL. It's kind of flopping around there. Hopefully should we just remove that one screw. And there's a spring. Goes on the top. And of course the ever elusive button itself. Spring goes on there like that. Down from the top. And in that hole should be a little wood screw. And that should hold this top part in place. But there also should be a diaphragm. I'll have to check, again, check the IPL on that. But as you can see, there's just malarkey in there. I'm not sure what's supposed to be holding there, what's gasket, what's crappy fuel. Yeah, let me check that out and see what we get before we go any further. Don't want to do more harm than good. Well, as par for the course, things aren't as simple as as we would like them to be. It's not going to be a simple change the knob and we're off and running. There's a few parts here that have rotted out, and after checking the Great Book of Canadian Goodness and doing a rudimentary search online, of course those parts are not available. So we're going to have to improvise. So what I'm thinking is, now in here, Pioneer called it a disc valve. You know, essentially it's a duckbill valve, just a kind of a flattened version of a duckbill valve. There's a little channel in there for an O-ring. I guess that's where it would sit. But I'm thinking a little bit more modern. It pulls through that hole, fuel through that hole there. The duckbill valve closes, then it gets pushed out that little hole on the side, right there, across at that channel and down into the carb. So what I'm thinking is I should have enough clearance. This is pretty tall. I have a shorter version of it. Let me see if I can get it to stand up. Yeah. Replacing that with a standard duckbill valve and a small O-ring to hold it in place. And if I can reuse the old part, there's a small little clip that goes in that holds that disc valve in place. So I may be able to reuse that if the O-ring is small enough. And on this side of it, you know, on this side right here, is a small diaphragm. Now the only thing left of the diaphragm is this little, this little squishy O-ring. And let's see if I'm angling it properly. Yeah, the diaphragm. Oh, let me see if I can get this. The diaphragm hooks beneath that little screw. There's a little dome-shaped washer, and it sandwiches between these two. And as you push down, it forces the fuel across and into the carb. And as the button comes back, it draws up from the tank, past the duckbill valve, and into this small chamber. As you push it down, it's like a little one-way check valve. And as you push the knob up and down, this little area should have a diaphragm. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some diaphragm material, cut it to size, attach it with some MotoSeal. As I can figure, attach it with a bit of MotoSeal around there, hole in the middle, screw it all back together, sandwich it. I would assume I would probably put a small O-ring in there between the diaphragm material and this little metal cone-shaped piece, and I'll give that a shot. Yeah, first I'll tackle the duckbill valve. See if I can get that to work properly. Then I'll work on cutting a diaphragm. Yeah. I'd like to get this thing to prime all by itself. Get it to seal properly. So you don't have to sit there with a can and kind of aim at the throat of the carburetor to get it started. Yeah. Let me start on this, see what kind of progress I get. I'm sure it's going to be a little bit of trial and error. And I'll keep you updated on the process. Still continuing on the primer pump. Since the parts are no longer available, I'm going to invent something on my own. Start with this here. Used to be a sort of a flattened one-way check valve. Now the duckbill valve is technically a one-way check valve. Air goes in, fuel doesn't come back out. So what I did was took some MotoSeal and an O-ring, put it around here, placed the short duckbill valve in the center, and giving it the suck blow test. I'm getting air out of it, and when I try to pull air back from it, it closes off. So hopefully that should give me the one-way check valve that I need so the fuel doesn't go back down and towards the tank. Now the fun part, and I'm not sure if this is going to work, I took the outer part of the old diaphragm that was there. Now what was there is a pleated diaphragm, which gave this a bit more excursion, probably like double of what I got here. but I don't have the tools or the technology to make a pleated diaphragm. So I took some diaphragm material, popped a hole in it, made it I gave it as much slack as possible, and hopefully, if I don't rip it, I should be able to place it right there. And in here is the little plunger, that center hole, and then unscrew this, put the diaphragm in, sandwich it back together, and hopefully this has got a lot of excursion, and hopefully I won't rip the diaphragm as I try to pump. I'm not holding my breath on this one, but this is as much slack as I can give it. So I'll give that a shot. A little Moto seal around it, hopefully hold it in place, give it some time to dry, and hopefully it'll draw fuel. Okay, and inside this piece here, where this screws into, let me see if I'll get that screwed in. Here we go. And in that little area there is a small hole, and that's where the fuel is supposed to get pushed out. On the opposite side of this is a spring and sort of like a little one-way plunger. So as the pressure goes, it pushes the plunger out of the way, and as you lift, it seals it off to stop the fuel from draining back in. A couple of one-way check valves, and this diaphragm, which I keep my fingers crossed. And hopefully that should work. We get it all back together, let it sit 24 hours till it's up to full strength, and see if I don't rip this. Yeah, if this will stay in one piece, and we got it. Oh well, first attempt, fail. Try to get it to go through, and it ripped right through the center of the diaphragm. Yeah, I figured there wasn't anywhere near enough excursion. Back to the drawing board. Got my feelers out to see if I can find one. Finding a pleated diaphragm that's this tiny, it's maybe like 1 inch in diameter. That's gonna be tough. Better I can see how I can pleat one myself. A little stamp, a little heat. Let's see what can be done. I'll try to fabricate this diaphragm with enough excursion is proving pretty difficult. And it has to move quite a bit. And I tried with 3mm nylon reinforced diaphragm material. Just there's not that much give to it. And trying to get it to stretch without compromising its strength is proven difficult. I tried even with a regular old used diaphragm, but it just simply lacks the strength. The original gasket is bowl shaped. It has to fit, sort of like a cup. So it gives it enough excursion without tearing. And I can figure is a couple of thin metal plates with a 1-inch hole in it, and then put the gasket material, a round ball, I would assume, to push down on it and heat it from the other side, trying to heat and stretch it. Anything I can figure. This isn't quite doing. This won't hold, and this isn't strong enough. Better just hope and pray I can find the proper gasket for this. But I've got to figure out something. I do want the primer to work. I want it to work as it was designed to work. Any suggestions? Let me know in the comments what I can do to make the diaphragm cup shaped in order to fit in this hole and give it enough excursion. I'm going to shelve it for now until I can figure it out. Yeah. So I do, there'll be a part 2. Thanks for watching.